Welcome guys to another session. Today we're gonna be talking about the 1 minute habit. How to change your life, transform your life, creating 1 minute habits. Hi Dana, hi Beth, hi Kathleen, hi CJ, hi Susan, hi Loretta. Thank you so much guys for joining in. I'm so excited about today's session, and it's just such a playful session. I can see it. I have a lot of things to show you here about the 1 minute habits that I have in my life right now going, and how they impact myself and the people around me, and they are just so wonderful. I'm just curious to know, from all of you guys who are here, how many of you have heard of this concept before, the 1 minute habit? Have you heard of this concept? Have you been doing any of them? If the answer is yes, I would like to know. And for those of you who may be new, thank you so much for joining. Say hi, say I'm new here so that I can say hello. And I just want to let you know, all of you, that I record these sessions, the audio portion of these sessions, and I share them in my website. Okay, so you can find, if you go to my Insight Timer profile link, you will find an option that says Insight Timer live session recordings, and you can find all my recordings for the past 2.5 years. They are all in there. Okay, so Nikki says no, haven't heard of it. Hey David, welcome. You are new here. Thank you so much for joining. I'm always happy to have new people. So let's talk about this, the 1 minute habit, and why I was inspired to talk about this. And this was something that when I came to Spain, I have a really good friend, Raul, and he was talking about all these tiny habits that he was doing for 100 days. So for 100 days, he was doing specific 1 minute habits. And then that inspired me to really think about that, because I have done a session about the one thing, the book, The One Thing. I have done a session about Atomic Habits, that is a great book. If you want to listen to those, they are available on Insight Timer. You just search Atomic Habits, or you just search The One Thing. And I talk about those books. I share about the concepts. And Atomic Habits is basically, atomic is such a tiny thing, right? It's an atomic habit. It's just the most tiny thing possible from a habit. And it really talks about how important it is to create your reality with the foundation of doing tiny habits, and how those tiny habits, they compound into creating extraordinary results just from doing tiny habits. So that's amazing. Hi Becca. Marisa says I haven't heard of it. Helen says new here from Australia. Welcome Helen, thank you for joining. Becca says your book reports help with time management. Yes, Becca, thank you. And those books are mostly about time management, and habits are mostly about time management. So when we talk about the 1 minute habit, I did a quick search to see the history behind this, and there are many concepts that are similar, okay? And I want to share some of the ones that I have found. I have found a Japanese term that is called Kaizen, so Kaizen, and that's the 1 minute principle for self-improvement. There is another book called The Happiness Project, where Gretchen Rubin, the author, she talks about the 1 minute rule. The 1 minute rule. Then there is an amazing book that I love that is called Atomic Habits by James Clear. And then there is the concept of micro habits, small habits, tiny habits, 1 minute habit. So at the end of the day, we are always talking about making a habit so tiny that it's very easy to do. It's very easy to complete. Okay? And why a 1 minute habit can make such a huge change, and why am I inviting you to create some? because the length of the task that you are doing is not as important as putting in place everything that needs to happen for you to actually start that task. So it doesn't matter, for example, if you take meditation, okay? You take meditation. The act of doing a meditation requires a lot of executive functioning skills that are going to be in action. It doesn't matter if you sit for 1 minute or if you sit for 60 minutes. Of course, sitting for 60 minutes will require more attention, more presence, right? But starting that task, either 1 minute, 10 minutes, 60 minutes, requires task initiation, requires switching your attention from whatever you are doing into this new task. It requires emotional self-regulation and making sure that you are starting that task with good mindset and nothing is charging you emotionally. It requires metacognition because you are reflecting and you are being present and you are really thinking about what you really want to be doing. So all these things are happening in the background. It requires time management. You have to make that task, schedule it in your calendar and remind yourself. You have to make it a priority. You are using prioritization. So you are making that task a priority in this present moment. So there are so many executive functioning skills that are kicking in just to make this 1 minute habit happen. So by you only doing 1 minute, you are going to ease procrastination, perfectionism, fear of commitment, fear of being trapped, fear of failure. There are so many things that you are going to minimize the impact because a 1 minute thing is not as scary as a 60-minute thing, okay? Because if I tell you, you want to meditate, you have never done it, or maybe you don't have it as a practice, and I tell you, let's do a 60-minute meditation, I'm 100% sure that we are going to face more resistance than if I invite you to do a 1 minute meditation. 1 minute meditation, it's doable, it's simple, and you can sit for a minute most likely. Can you sit for 10 minutes? I don't know. 60 minutes? Probably not, unless you are an experienced meditator. So just think about all these things that are happening in the background just to make a 1 minute habit happen. This is why it's so powerful, because it's not about the length of what you are trying to do. It is about showing up, about the consistency, about putting all these executive functioning skills in action in a slower pace, so that when you have to do a task for a longer period of time, you have already those muscles, those executive functioning skills already in place. Okay. So Becca says, your book review saves us from all the time needed to learn from the concepts. Thank you. Yeah, Becca, thank you so much. And it's funny that you mentioned that, because sometimes I don't read the whole book either. Sometimes I will get a digest of that book and I will get the main concepts, because maybe I don't have access to the book, maybe it's not on the library, maybe I just want to learn the main concepts, and that's already enough to get going with integrating that learning from the book. So sometimes you don't have to read a whole book to get value out of it. And when I do these sessions, I really try to make it really practical, really playful, and really convenient. And I think that is the secret for you guys to taking action. How can you make this short, simple, convenient, visual, fun, social, fulfilling, like all these things, so that habit becomes something that you are looking forward to rather than a chore. Okay. So Kathleen says, so it doesn't matter what the habit is, but rather the act of making a habit. So Kathleen, yeah, sometimes it is not about you are trying to do, but what you are actually doing. Sometimes that tiny habit, the repetition of that tiny habit, will create something that before didn't exist. And sometimes what you are trying to create is just gonna come out of those tiny actions. Rather than you trying to complete a huge action, You are going to start doing very, very tiny ones, and at the end you will have a result that is gonna be something amazing that you say, wow, I can't believe I did this. But that's just a repetition of you taking action in smaller amounts of time. Sometimes you need to start doing something before you actually know how to do it. Sometimes you have to start taking action before you are even ready, because that's the only way for you to learn, through the experience of doing that. Okay? So, what is the secret of creating these 1-minute habits, these atomic habits, these micro habits, these small habits? From my point of view, they have to be very easy. Okay, and I will share a bunch of examples of my own ones, and then we can brainstorm ideas on how you can create the ones that appeal to you. But they have to be easy, simple. You don't have to think too much about that, because if not, it's not gonna happen. Just make it simple, okay? Make it fast, just 1 minute, fast. Make it convenient, okay? When you are making the habit convenient, what does convenient mean? If you are trying to play the guitar, for example, and the guitar is in a case on the top of the closet in the room upstairs, how likely are you to play the guitar? Because you are adding an extra barrier. You are going to spend more than 1 minute just going and getting the guitar, okay? So that's not a 1 minute habit. That is a 1 minute frustration, a 1 minute disaster, right? Because you're going to be frustrated just going to get that guitar. How can you make it convenient? Grab your guitar, okay, and put it in a place where you're gonna sit all the time. In my case, I hang it in this house that we are renting, it's hung over there. But right now I had it right here. So if I get up off my chair, I step on top of the guitar. So that's how I will kick the guitar away. So that's how visual it is, okay? So how likely am I to play the guitar if it's right there? Very likely. How easy it is for me to apply the 1 minute habit with my guitar if it's just beside me? Very likely. How likely am I to, if I carry this guitar with me to the different rooms, how likely am I to just spend 1 minute here, 1 minute there? Very likely. So this is one example. Make it convenient, make it visual, make it playful. Sometimes I put the guitar in the middle of the living room. So, and it's so silly to see a guitar sitting in the middle of the living room. And it's like, why is the guitar sitting in the middle of the living room? And then people will come and say, why is that guitar there? And then I tell them, because I want to play the guitar more often. And if it's in the middle of the way, I am more likely to do it. I am more likely to remind myself, oh yeah, the guitar, I have to practice. Okay? So that's an example of making it convenient. Make it not scary. Okay? So try to find a way to make the habit not scary. So, for example, let's go back to the guitar. If I want to learn a song, and that's my goal, that's my habit, I'm gonna learn this song, that is scary for me. Because a song contains chords, contains lyrics, contains the right hand, contains a lot of things, a lot of components. So that's scary for me. It's too much happening. It's not simple, it's difficult. And I am more likely to procrastinate because I am going to fail, because I will not have enough time in a minute to make a curve on that task. But what happens if I break it down in steps? And I say, listen, I want to learn this song. So 1 minute habit, the first thing that I will do, I will find the song and I will print it. 1 minute. Okay. Next minute, I will start looking at the lyrics. I will read the lyrics and I will try to memorize the lyrics. Okay? Another 1 minute habit that I can repeat and practice, I will practice the chords, just the open chords. This is the chord, this is the chord, this is the chord. And then after that, I will practice my right hand, because the songs that I'm learning, they are Spanish style. So I have to, with my left hand, I put the chord, and with my right hand, I have to do something different. So my brain needs to know all these different things. So I will just practice my right hand. And then after, I will put it all together. So, for example, when I'm trying to learn a song on the guitar, this is a song that I was learning that my daughter loves. And I have to learn the chord here. So I will sometimes just practice putting the chord here and do this. Okay, so and then once I have that, I will practice my right hand. And I will just practice that for a minute here, a minute there, a minute here, a minute there. And then I promise you that after a few days, I was able to do this at the same time. Fast. And then I learn the lyrics 1 minute at a time. And then it's like, yo no necesito conversar, porque adivino que ya sabes cómo soy, tú me has conocido siempre. So to do that didn't come from practicing all of it all at once, okay? This is one example about the guitar. So I broke it down to simple, convenient, playful, visual, and fulfilling steps, okay? So this is an example with the guitar. So you have to watch what's happening when you are creating this 1 minute habit, okay? So sometimes you are going to notice emotions showing up, but it's easier to manage those emotions if you set a 1 minute habit. Because if you set a 60-minute habit, it's gonna be a lot of intensity. It's gonna be very overwhelming. But if you start connecting with those emotions for a minute at a time, it's gonna be easier for you to practice self-regulation, emotional self-regulation. Okay. So, for example, the guitar. Imagine that I pick the guitar and I feel I don't have a good voice. I don't know how to play this song. I'm gonna make a lot of mistakes. My neighbor is around there and he's hearing me. You know what I mean? So you are putting a lot of pressure on yourself, but you can be with that for a minute and then leave. And then if you are with a minute here, a minute later, a minute next hour, a minute in the afternoon, a minute the next morning. So you are building a lot of capacity to be with those emotions, and you are gonna get better and better and better, okay? If you try to do all at once in 1 hour, it's going to be too intense and you are going to give up. You are not even going to start sometimes. So watching what's coming up, it's important. What is coming up for me right now that is preventing me from taking action with this habit, with this thing that I want to start doing? And then notice, and maybe the first 1 minute habit for you is to notice what's present, to name it, to write it in your journal, to acknowledge it. I am afraid. I am concerned of my neighbor hearing me. Why is that? Because I believe I don't have a good voice. I believe that if someone hears me playing, they're gonna laugh in my face. It's too vulnerable. I am trying my best and maybe I'm not good enough, and they're gonna tell me that, and it's gonna break my self-esteem. Whatever is present for you, okay? You just acknowledge it. So emotional self-regulation, a big one, and that's why the 1 minute habits is going to allow you to stay in touch slowly with those emotions and then hopefully gain intensity. Another thing that will happen, guys, when you start doing these 1 minute habits is that you will do more than 1 minute. I promise you will, because you're gonna enjoy it so much and you're gonna get into the flow of whatever you are doing, and you're gonna do probably 5 minutes, 10 minutes easily. And as the more you practice, the more consistent you are with these habits, the more easily it's gonna be for you to maintain focus and attention. Another executive functioning skill that is focus and attention is keeping your attention and your presence in one specific task that you have chosen, and not getting distracted, not getting like all over the place. You are focusing your attention. And then if you can do it with 1 minute habit, with this one, you are going to start practicing that executive functioning skill of attention and focus into the different areas of your life, because you are practicing. Okay, so this is another great example. Violet says, I would like to try shamanic drumming. Does anyone recommend a drum or where to get a good one? So it's funny that you say that, because Samantha has a beautiful drum that she birthed, meaning she built it. She went to a workshop and then she had the skin and then she had the structure and then she built the drum, and now she plays that drum and it's so beautiful. and she's so proud of her having done that. And she does that. She has the drum close by, and then she does the try to do the 1 minute habit. Not every day, but she's trying to play it more. But again, how would you implement a 1 minute habit with a drum if this is what you want to be doing? Maybe the first step, the first 1 minute habit, and this is something that I recommend. Okay, in this specific example of a drum, that you don't have a drum yet, but you can get started with the 1 minute habit, and you can label that minute habit like my shamanic drum or whatever word inspires you, and you will say, this is what my 1 minute habit for my beautiful shamanic drum. Okay, so the first step, maybe research options. How can I get a drum? How can I build a drum? Is there a workshop I can attend? Is there a place I can buy one? Is there a friend that may have one that I can borrow? Whatever comes to mind, you just spend 1 minute brainstorming ideas, and that's what your 1 minute habit. Once you have a drum, you can borrow one, you can find a workshop, or you get one somehow. Then maybe your habit transforms and evolves into start playing the drum. And maybe you don't start playing the drum, maybe you allow yourself, I'm gonna watch a couple of YouTube videos so that I can know what to do next. I know how to take action with this because I have no idea. Maybe that's what you like. Maybe you want to get together with someone that has experience and they can show you live. Maybe you can watch a recording from a person that, maybe you can watch a YouTube video of someone playing a drum, and then you get to know different options on how to play it. So that can be part of your 1 minute habit. And then once you have a drum, once you learn a rhythm, once you have a song that you would like to practice, then your 1 minute habit will be to keep practicing that specific song until you perfect it and you have it. And then maybe after that, it will evolve into learning a new song, or maybe learning a new rhythm pattern, or maybe whatever that comes to you, however that habit evolves. And I think it's beautiful to let those 1 minute habits keep unfolding and kind of like seeing where they take you. Frida says, I was playing the rhythm patterns on the table. Absolutely. And you know how I practice guitar sometimes when I don't have it? When I'm trying to learn a new song, I have the sheet of paper here. I will watch a YouTube video normally of someone playing the song so that I can understand what kind of rhythm I need to use with my hand, and then I will just practice on my shirt, practice on my leg, and I will try to emulate that rhythm and gain speed. So I don't need to have my physical guitar with me. I can do this in the bus, I can do this in the metro, and I just have the lyrics, and then once I memorize the lyrics, I have them in my head, or I can listen to them with my headphones, and then I can keep practicing the rhythm at the same time. You can do the same with drums, right? You can drum on anything. So that's a beautiful way of doing that. When I was learning how to type on the typewriter and then after on the computer, I remember that I was visualizing words in my mind, and I was using my fingers to try and type those words. And I was visualizing the keyboard, and I was saying, how will I spell my name is Emilio? I will do my name is, you know what I mean? And I will think and I will visualize that keyboard. And after a couple of weeks, I was able to type without looking at the keyboard. So it was pretty amazing. And that was on the bus, on the metro, on anytime I had a minute here, a minute there, I will do that. So that was a 1 minute habit in that day, and I wasn't aware of it. Yeah, but this is just some examples on how you can implement these 1 minute habits in playful ways. Okay, so guys, do you have any questions? Let me see, could you repeat the things you said about making it playful, etc.? Yeah, so Ray, I always recommend when you are trying to set a 1 minute habit, I always recommend to be easy, to be simple, to be fast, to be convenient, to be visual, to be not scary, to be something that is repeatable, to be something that can be done anywhere you are. So ideally, if we are talking about the drum, if we are talking about the guitar, for example, you can practice things without having that instrument without having that thing with you. You can practice the drumming techniques. I could practice my typing without having a keyboard in front of me. I can practice juggling my balls without having my balls. I just do the same patterns and I visualize the balls. So there are many ways that you can do things without having what you need. So making it location free, if possible, okay? So yeah, these are the main things. Make it playful, make it fulfilling. Choose something that makes it fulfilling, right? And when I say make it simple and short, try to break whatever you're trying to do. In my example, I was talking about learning a song on the guitar. So I wasn't attempting to learn the song on the guitar. I broke it down into very specific steps. Today I'm gonna practice learning the lyrics, and that's it. Once I have the lyrics, I'm gonna practice just the main chords and just drum like this, and that's it. After, I will practice my right hand, and then after I will put it all together. And let me tell you one thing, some of the songs I learned, my brain could not do everything at once. It was impossible for me. But repeating, 1 minute here, 1 minute there, 1 minute here, 1 minute there, it just click. It's like one day it's like click, oh, I don't have to think about my right hand and my left hand and the lyrics. Everything is flowing together, but because of the repetition. So that's why the 1 minute habit is so powerful, because I don't need to sit down for 1 hour to learn that song. I can sit down for 1 minute at a time, a few times, and I can see a lot of progress happening. Okay? Yeah, join late. Could you give some examples? Mary, I'm gonna share some examples of the 1 minute habits that I have in my own life. I just wanted to make sure that. Thank you, Amy, for writing that. So you are welcome, Ray. So yeah, so just make them easy, make them fast, make them convenient, make them visual, not scary, repeatable. Break it down into smaller steps, make it location free if possible. Think about what are the ways I can practice this habit without having to be in a specific location. Okay, and always make it fulfilling for you, make it playful for you, make it something that you are looking forward to, not a chore that you have to do. So this is the executive functioning skill of task completion. Okay, task completion means you somehow in your brain you are describing what the task will look like when it's finished. Sometimes if I were to say I am going to learn this song on the guitar, and that is the task completion, I will most likely procrastinate because it's such a big task and it's so difficult to achieve in one sitting. So I will probably procrastinate, avoid, and feel strong emotions of like fear, or I'm not good enough, or I won't have enough time. But when you break it down and then I reframe what it means to complete this task, now I am not learning the song. I am just reading the lyrics. I am just playing the open chords. I am just practicing my right hand. I am just going to sing along the chords. So you see, it becomes very specific, less scary, more doable. And then your emotions are not going to shut you down because you are not trying to do too much and it's not overwhelming. Okay? So yeah, so that's how I make playing guitar fulfilling and fun, because I broke it down into something that is so simple. I have really low expectations, and the good thing is that after a while I just learn the song and I'm playing the song and it's like, this is amazing. How wonderful it is. Okay, so guys, you want to see some examples? Do you have any burning question, or you want to see some of my other examples and how I make these 1 minute habits, how I integrate them in my life? It is your choice. Tell me in the chat. Fulfilling is my new word. It replaces fear. Amazing. Amazing. Examples. Guitar example is excellent. Yeah. Please. Okay. So, some examples. I share the guitar one, so I can go back to it after if you want. But some 1 minute habit examples. This one. This is my magic rock. I have this on my bedside table. And this is an invitation for me to be grateful, to think about what is my magic rock today. What is something that happened today that I'm so grateful about? What is the highlight of my day? And this is something that reminds me of spend 1 minute and be grateful. What is something that happened today that you are grateful about? And then I go back to the experience and I try to feel it. Oh, when my daughter looked at me in the shower, or where my wife made that sweet meal for me, or whatever that is. Can be very specific moments. Okay, this is my magic rock. I have one, my wife has one, and my daughter has one, and we all paint them together on the table. So it was a family activity, and this became a 1 minute habit. Okay, sometimes it's majority of the times it's more than a minute, but it started with 1 minute habit. Another wonderful example that I love is just juggling my balls. I just love juggling. I started a few years ago and I just love juggling my balls so much, and I became really good at it after a while. And I don't juggle for an hour at a time. I have the balls with me and I just juggle 1 minute here, 1 minute there, 3 minutes there, 2 minutes there. I put them in the stroller when I go with my daughter to the park, and I juggle for maybe a minute or two. Sometimes I juggle while I walk in the street and people look at me saying, who is this guy? But yeah, so how did I do the 1 minute? So I started very small, right? Like throwing my balls, getting used with my balls. Then I had 2 balls and I started practicing these patterns that you can learn online very easily. And then I started to do 3, and then I started to learn how to do 3. And then after 3, I said, how can I do 4? And it was 2 balls in one hand, and I had to practice this. So I was walking through the house doing that, and then with the left hand, the same thing. And then you have to practice, get really good at it, okay? And then once you have that done, then you do the 4 balls, and then you just put it together. And then you can juggle 4 balls like this. Now I am sitting here in front of the computer. I don't have a lot of space, but I can do 4 balls, no problem. And then now I'm starting to do balls and using my knees and doing tricks, and I'm starting to do 5 balls. And to do 5 balls, there are lots of exercises. So I don't just go and with 5 balls at once. I have to practice having 3 balls in one hand. I have to throw them and catch them. And I have to do that for a while. So that becomes a 1 minute habit, just practicing that. Another one is doing a clap with 3 balls. So I do 3 balls and I have to do a clap. And then that's how I create the space to have that 5th ball in there. So there are so many different exercises that I have to do before I can juggle 5 balls. So that's another great example of a 1 minute habit with juggling. Okay? Another 1 minute habit that I love, it's having my oracle cards. I will shuffle my cards, I will pick one, I will ask a question before, and then I will just read it. And it's very short, it takes less than a minute, sometimes a couple minutes max, but then it's amazing how I create time for myself, reflection time. I sometimes share these cards with my wife, with a friend. We ask a question, they shuffle the cards, they get one, and it's an excuse to be together, to talk about something that is important, to brainstorm ideas, to practice metacognition. Metacognition is an executive functioning skill that we all have that allows us to be present, allows us to think how we think, to watch how we behave and act. And then from that place of presence, we can start choosing something different. And the cards are an amazing way to just create presence time with myself and with others. Another 1 minute habit that is always more is just having a book by my bedside table. And then my wife made this amazing book mark, and I love it, and it has these colorful hairs, and I just have it there. And sometimes Even if I open the book and read 1 or 2 pages, it's better than nothing. And I always end up reading more than 1 or 2 pages. I always end up spending at least 10 to 15 minutes before going to bed, some nights, to just reading the book. So that's another 1 minute habit. Another 1 minute habit is Samantha bought me this little thing. It's like essential oils, like a mixture. I will open it, I will put something here, and I will just do this, and I will just smell. That takes less than a minute, and just the smell just invites me to relax, invites me to take a break, invites me to be present, and just be mindful of the smell. And I love it, and it's such a wonderful activity to just break down. Another 1 minute habit is just smudging yourself. Have some Palo Santo. I will use the lighter, and then I will just smudge myself. And then that's another opportunity for me to be mindful about what am I trying to get rid of? What am I inviting in? What am I noticing right now that I don't like? What am I noticing that I would like to transform, to do different? And that's an invitation, a ceremony, if you want to call it, so that I can do that. Okay. Another one. My wife and I, we create a family day on Wednesdays. So Eva doesn't go to school on Wednesdays, and we just go to do adventures in the city. So we have a 1 minute habit, that is, we have this jar, and then anytime an idea comes to mind, we just spend less than a minute, we write it down, and we put it inside. So this is now becomes really playful, because the day prior to, on Tuesday, when Eva comes from school, she gets to open the jar, she gets to shake it, and then she gets to grab a paper, and that will tell us what we are doing the next day. And this exists because we spent 1 minute creating each idea, and we just put it in here. And what happens if we pick an idea and we don't like it? We just pick another one. So it doesn't have to be something that it's playful. Eva participates and she's so excited. It helps with anticipation. It helps to create a plan for the following day. It helps us be proactive. It helps Eva get organized, in the sense like, okay, we're gonna go here, what do I need? What do I need to get ready? What are we going to eat? And then it helps her realize and understand what's happening the next day. Maybe we have to get up a little bit earlier, but she knows why, and she's excited about it. So that's another example of 1 minute habits. And then the last one, I brought here honor Samantha, my wife. So I started this practice that a friend gave me this PDF with all these adjectives, these positive traits of people, like courage, generosity, presence, whatever. So I always think, at least once a day or twice a day, I try to stop, and then I try to look at her eyes and say, Samantha, I honor you for, and I use a very specific example. For example, today was, I honor you because you clean the house and it smells amazing and it is so inviting. I honor you because you made me an amazing lunch, and I honor you because you always listen to me when I have something to share. So I honor you because of your generosity with Eva, because it was my time yesterday and she spent extra time with her. So I honor her, and I try to find those positive traits. Less than a minute. It always is more than a minute after, but it's a 1 minute habit, and it doesn't have to take a long time. Okay? So these are some examples of 1 minute habits. Let me read. I have a hard time standing around waiting for water to heat up for tea or instant coffee. So I use the time to fill the dog's bowls and wipe the counter. I make it a game to complete before the microwave beeps. Amazing, Erin. So that to me sounds like a 1 minute habit. That it happens. That's also like a habit stack technique, habit stacking technique. So you have the habit of boiling water, and on top of that habit, you are putting that habit of cleaning up and making it a game. So that's another wonderful way to start integrating 1 minute habits in your life, is to stack them on top of a habit that you are already doing. And I think I have a session that you can hear on Inside Timer about habit stacking, about that technique. So for example, I always drink coffee. So majority of the people I know, they drink something in the morning, coffee, tea, water. So I always tell them, like, if you want to do something, put the mug that you use every morning on the counter or wherever you put it, and then put a note with whatever you want to be doing. And then every morning when you go, you just get up, you are asleep, you go there and you are going for your cup, you won't be able to pour anything in it unless you remove this. So you're gonna see that, and that's gonna say something or have an icon or have some sort of visual reminder. Maybe it's like drink a glass of water. So you will drink a glass of water and then you will have your coffee and your tea. Or maybe it's something else. That's a great way for you to start integrating 1 minute habits and stacking them on top of something that you already do. Okay, have you heard of a God box or box for the universe? I put fears in there, but it feels creative to do. Amy, I have heard something like that, and I think that came from a book. What was the book name? I can't remember the book name, but it's from the author that wrote The Secret, and she created a gratefulness challenge book. I think it was 28 days that you have different practices, and every day you had to do something. And one of the practices was to have a box, and in that box you will put in there, you could put things that you wanted to let go of, or you could put things that you wanted more of in your life. And then you actually, that's another 1 minute habit that you can do, that it's amazing. You are thinking about something that you want to ask for more in your life, and then you can put it in that box. And that ceremony, it's actually helping you set the intention and put energy into that idea. You can do the opposite. We have a fireplace here now. Sometimes we do a burning ceremony, and we write down things that we want to let go of, and we will put them in the fire. You can burn them in a pot with a candle, so make it safe. Don't burn your house down. But that's another 1 minute habit that you can do that is wonderful. It's a ceremony, it's playful, and it's so ceremonial, and it invites you to be present. It invites you to name what is it that you want more of. What is it what you want to let go of or transform or change? And it's an opportunity for you to be with yourself. And you can do this with another person too, or with a group of people if they are open to the idea. Yeah, what was the box of cards you were referring to? Kathleen, the box of cards. So this was my oracle cards. So basically this is a set of cards. Okay, so I have 54 cards. Every card means something different, has a name and a number. Okay, and then it comes with a book. So basically what I do, I ask a question, or it can look something like, what should I know today for my highest good? Or it can be very specific about what do I need to know about the resistance I feel about recording a video every week, for example. And I will shuffle my cards until one card, I can either select a card, or maybe one card will fall down, or one card will flip. So this is the card I got. So this is card number 6, and it's called Mountain. Okay, so I will go to the book, and I will look at the number 6, and then it will tell me Mountain. It says you have the capacity to flow around any obstacle. This is the time to adapt. And then the card came reversed. So my book has upright and reverse. So I will read the reverse portion, and look how short it is. It's just this. Okay, so I will read them. There is an obstacle to your inquiry. This is not the time to move forward. Wait a while, be patient, and way around the mountain will be revealed. A way around the mountain will be revealed. Pushing forward isn't in your highest good. So I will keep reading, and then again, this is an invitation for me to reflect about how I feel about that. So either if I agree with this or if I disagree with this, it's going to help me gain clarity, because deep inside I am spending time with myself, and I am putting presence and energy into that question. So this is an inner guide, one tool of 1,000 that you can access, of spending time with yourself and really noticing how do I feel about this? What do I need to know? And what is something that I would like to change, or how can I move forward in a different way? And this is just one set of cards. This one, Amy, you say, who created those cards? They are beautiful. They are called Map. They are called The Enchanted Map, and they are by Colette Baron Reed. Okay, this is just one set of, there are so many other available out there. This one came to me, Samantha sent me to a retreat. She invited me to a 1-week retreat, and then in the shop I went down and I found this set, and it just called me. I like the cover, I like the name, and then I like the booklet. It's very short, very to the point, and I use them a lot, pretty much daily, sometimes every other day. And I will take them with me to walks. I will take them with me when I go and see family, friends. My wife always likes to grab one. And it's just an excuse to create that presence time. And it's shorter than a minute if you want to, because it doesn't have to be longer than that. So that's another example. Okay. So guys, I hope that you enjoyed this session. I invite you to think about what 1-minute habits would you like to create, and how can you make them convenient, simple, fast, not scary, repeatable, fulfilling, playful. How can you make this fun, this something that you are looking forward to, rather than something that you are, something not a chore, something that is kind of like a game. Okay, so if you like this session and you want to support me with a donation, as always, I will be very grateful to receive it. If you want to learn more about executive functioning skills that I talked about in this session, and how these 1-minute habits are going to help you become aware and nurture those skills, I invite you to check out my course, Understanding Your Executive Functioning Skills. It's here on Inside Timer. You can take it. It's not a very long course, but I'm going to be talking about every specific skill. There is a little practice about each of those skills, so that you can become aware of how you use that skill in your day-to-day life, and then you can start putting more intention behind how you use those skills, because your brain is using them in a specific way. And if you become aware of how your brain functions, and you nurture that, and you complement the areas that you may feel that are a little bit weak, just complement them with strategies, you are going to start thriving more. You're going to start noticing that you're going to be more efficient. You're going to start self-regulating better. You're going to start reframing expectations, and then creating these 1-minute habits, and you're going to start making progress and taking action. That at the end of the day, taking action is what we all need more of. More action and less thinking. Sometimes thinking comes into place, but there is a time that you have to take action, because if not, you will not move the needle. Okay? If you want to learn more about intentional time management, I also have a course about that, my newest course. It's also available. It's a 10-day course. And if you want to learn about creating your clutter-free home, or minimalism, or self-care, I have courses on those topics too. So as you see, there is a full journey for you ahead of you if you want to keep taking action and keep learning. I hope that you guys have a great weekend. I will not be here next week. I'm gonna go to Portugal to see family, and I will not schedule lives because I won't have probably internet connection. I don't know the environment I will be in, and I also will enjoy a break. So I will see you the following week. Okay. Becca says, I like to be outside every day at 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. no matter the weather. Amazing. So that's a habit that you enjoy, Becca, and that's wonderful. And that's something that you can do anywhere you are. Yeah. So guys, thank you so much for your time, for your presence. Mora says, I miss you playing the guitar. 1 more minute of strumming. Yeah, sure. So so this is a song that I learned in fractions, as I said. Yo, necesito conversar, porque adivino que ya sabes cómo soy, tú me has conocido siempre. Amigos para siempre means you'll always be my friend. Amics para sempre means a love that never ends. Friends for life, no just a summer or a spring. Amigos para siempre. Hey, 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 I feel you near even when we are apart. Just knowing you are in this world can warm my heart. Friends for life, no just a summer or a spring. Amigos para siempre. That's a song that I learned that has English, Catalan, and Spanish, and it's very, very bright, very, very happy. So I'm learning a bunch of songs because I'm planning to go to the street and do some basking. My wife is doing that with her guitar, and I thought I can play some Spanish songs, and people will hopefully have a smile in their face. Amazing. So there you go, guys. There you have it. I'm going to Lisbon on Saturday. I won't be going to Lisbon. I'm going to the south, to the Algarve, to a place close to Faro, I think is the name. I have never been to Portugal, so I'm very excited. Okay, guys, have an amazing week. I hope to see you in one of my courses if you want to join, and if not, I hope to see you in my next live session that it's already scheduled. Okay, for when I'm back. Have an amazing week, and cannot wait to be with you next. And thank you for being here again. Okay, adios.